got four walls around me. I got the sun in the sky, all the water surrounds me. Oh, hey, oh. Yeah, I win now, but sometimes I lose. I've been battered, but I never bruise. It's not so bad. And I say, hey, 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 it's just an ordinary day, and it's all your state of mind. At the end of the day, you just gotta say it's alright.
Hey! This is on page 9 in your books, if you want to follow along.
Janie sings on the corner, what keeps her from dying? Yeah, let them say what they want, she won't stop trying. Oh, she might stumble if they push her around, she might fall, but she'll never lie down. It's not so bad. And I say, hey, 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 it's just an ordinary day, and it's all your state of mind. At the end of the day, you just gotta say it's alright. Hey! Hey! Stephen Belair! In this beautiful life, there's always some sorrow. It's a double-edged knife, but there's always tomorrow. Hey-oh. It's up to you now if you sink or swim. Just keep the faith and your ship will come in. It's not so bad. And I say, hey, hey, it's just an ordinary day, and it's all your state of mind. At the end of the day, you just gotta say it's alright. Hey, hey, it's just an ordinary day, and it's all your state of mind. At the end of the day, you just gotta say it's alright. It's alright. It's alright, it's alright. I got a smile on my face, I got four walls around me. Hey!
Good morning, everyone. As I trip over my cord. Morning! Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Toronto. I am not Reverend Jonathan.
What?
My name is Tanis Burnett, for those of you who don't know me. I am emceeing for the day while Jonathan is in Los Angeles.
Hi, Jonathan.
He's on holidays, but he is doing the talk this morning at NoHo, which is now called the Global Truth Center. But so the church, the center where he was trained as a minister, he is doing the talk this morning. So congratulations. And doing our talk today is a fabulous guest from Edmonton. I will give you his full intro later, but Carmien Owen is with us today. He's in the house.
He's in the house.
He got to experience the humidity on Friday, the 45 degrees.
Yeah.
He got to experience the tornadic episode Friday night. He got to experience the road closures today because of the triathlon. So welcome to Toronto. Yeah. It's so nice to see you all today. And I see some of you got the memo about the color of the day. And I'm out of the court. I'm very uncomfortable. I prefer being up there with the boys in the back. So here I am today. Yeah. Well, why don't we get started? I know, I was going to say, I bet you he's watching online. Hello! Shouldn't you be preparing for your talk?
Yeah, he's having a coffee.
Yeah. So, as Jonathan is watching, we'll behave now. And hello to everybody who's watching online and anybody who's watching the archive. Welcome to our fabulous space, our fabulous community, this wonderful, not so hot Sunday. Yay! Yes, it's quite delightful. All right, so let's get down to business. On the back of your songbooks is the Declaration of Principles. And last week, Jonathan made you all stand, and it was quite fantastic. So I'm going to make you stand this week.
Power trip, yeah. Jeez,
I think they're calling me bossy.
bossy pants.
And here we go. I believe in one living spirit, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. I believe this one manifests itself in and through all creation. I believe in the individualization of the Spirit, and that all people are individualizations of the one Spirit. I believe that heaven is within, and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. I believe that God is personal to all who feel this indwelling presence. I believe in the eternality, immortality, and the continuity of the individual soul, forever and ever expanding. I believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. Lovely. Have a seat. Except Margaret Ann, don't have a seat. I'm going to call Margaret Ann up to say her brilliant words of wisdom. And followed by that, we will be singing How Could Anyone, which is number 3 in your books.
Good morning, everyone. And I have a reading from the book that I love so much, Science of Mind. And this is called The Need of Spiritual Experience. We need spiritual experience, a first-hand knowledge of life and reality. There is no medium between God and man, nothing between life and living, between heaven and hell, but an idea. But an idea has no real value until it becomes an experience. In conversation, we assume great knowledge of religion and philosophy, but how much do we really experience? We can know only that which we experience. All great religions have taught truth, but it means nothing to us unless it becomes our truth. We need spiritual experience. We shall never know peace until we embody it. We shall never know truth until we become truth. And we cannot know God unless we sense Him within our own being. The Spirit is ever giving, but we must take. What life does for us must be done through us. Spiritual experience is deep, calm, and self-assertive. It is the result of actually realizing that presence which binds all together in one complete whole. This experience comes in the stillness of the soul, when the outer voice is quiet, when the tempest of the human strife is abated. It is a quickening of the inner man to an eternal reality. Spiritual experience is a fact. Spirituality may be defined as an atmosphere of good, the realization of God. It cannot and does not borrow its light from another, no matter how great or noble the other may be. It springs from within, coming from that never-failing fountain of life, which quenches every thirst, whose source is in eternity, the wellspring of self-existence. It is a revelation of the self to the self, putting one back on the track of his own self-dependence on spirit, his own at-one-ment with reality. And there was another passage in there that I was reading, and it allowed me to feel good. So I wanted to share that with you in this experience of loving self, knowing self, and going within. And he calls us, I think he's quoting actually someone else, but to put palm upon palm and put it on our hearts. And just say, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful me.
Wonderful, wonderful me.
And I see a lot of you smiling. Take a deep breath into that smile. Know it, feel it. And say once again, wonderful.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful me.
And so it is.
So it is.
Thank you.
Ooh, well, it does not. Don't go anywhere. Yes, you may not be seated. Yes, ties in beautifully with the invocation today. So, how could anyone? Page 3.
1, 2, 3.
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
In this moment, in this stillness, in this beautiful place that is my home, I realize that there is only one presence, and it is God. It is love, it is peace, it is joy, it is life itself. It is the essence of who I am. And as I know this, as I expand on this in my life and in my thoughts and in my actions, in my choices, as I expand this beautiful being that is me, as I open and let it expand perfectly, divinely, knowing that it is a divine essence. As I allow this to happen, I am filled with such joy and gratitude. As I allow this gratitude to expand, this thanksgiving to know that I am one with God, that I can choose to make choices that are perfect for me. I can choose to make choices that are fun, interesting, alive. I can choose to love my life. I can choose to love myself. I can choose to love absolutely everything. This is my choice. I recognize it and I accept it and I love it. In this moment, I realize that I am a stillness inside and a beauty outside. And I allow these two to flourish, to expand, to be exactly who I am. In this moment of gratitude, I release, I let it go, I let it be so, and I let it flow. In this moment, I release, I let it go. And together we say, and so it is.
Here we go.
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
Thank you, Margaret Ann. See, Jonathan usually fills when we're about to do the feature song, but I'm part of that, so just bear with us just for a moment. You guys can see over that? Do you want me to move it? You're fine? Okay, good. All right. Yeah. Yeah, well, Stephen and I determined we probably shouldn't stand together because we're like the naughty kids at the back of the class. So-
Well, that's when you're in trouble, you go to the front.
Oh!
Yay.
Two, three, four. Now I've been happy lately, thinking about the good things to come, and I believe it could be something good has begun. Oh, I've been smiling lately, dreaming about the world as one, and I believe it could be someday it's gonna come. 'Cause out on the edge of darkness there rides a peace train. Peace train, take this country, come take me home again. Now I've been smiling lately, thinking about the good things to come, and I believe it could be something good has begun. Oh, peace train sounding louder, ride on the peace train. Peace train, yes, peace train, holy roller. Everyone jump on the peace train. Ooh-ah-ee-ah-ooh-ah. Come on, the peace train. Get your bags together and bring your good friends too, 'cause it's getting nearer. Soon it will be with you. Now come and join the living. It's not so far from you, and it's getting nearer. Soon it will all be true. Oh, peace train sounding louder, glide on the peace train. Ooh-ah-ee-ah, ooh-ah. Come on, the peace train. Lately, thinking about the world as it is. Why must we go on hating? Why can't we live in bliss? 'Cause out on the edge of darkness there rides a peace train. Oh, peace train, take this country, come take me home again. Oh, peace train sounding louder, ride on the peace train. Ooh-ah-ee-ah-ooh-ah. Come on, peace train. Yes, peace train, holy roller. Everyone jump on the peace train. Ooh-ah-ee-ah-ooh-ah. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, peace train. Yes, it's the peace train. Peace train.
I don't have heads on. All right. Yes. Hello. So here we are. We have a fabulous community that is so looking forward to Carmien speaking today. They've been talking about you for quite a while, so we've been very excited. And we know we're in excellent hands. So let me tell you a little bit about Carmien. Carmien Owen's purpose is to inspire people, to awaken their spiritual magnificence. His primary passion is the pursuit of spirituality, and he does that through extensive spiritual practice, service out of CSL Edmonton, playing the guitar and writing songs, developing the spiritual vehicle at www.knowtheflow.ca, and working rigorously toward receiving his ministerial designation with the Centers for Spiritual Living. So let's give a big CSL Toronto welcome to Carmien Owen.
It's fantastic. She left me her glasses, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to improvise. That's not going to work at all. But how do they look? What do you think? Yeah? Okay. She's going to wonder where they are. She's going to say they're on my head. They're actually on mine, just so you know. Wonderful. It is so amazing to be here today. It really is. You know, I've heard a lot about you because I've had a chance to connect with Reverend Jonathan. And back at the CSL, Center for Spiritual Living Convention in Kamloops back in June, Jonathan and I were talking. We actually hung out for the weekend, and he turned around and he said, hey, you know, would you like to come and talk July 21st? And I jumped at the chance. And I did get to experience all sorts of Toronto, and all I can say is it was great to see you at the front of the class. It seemed like you really belonged here. That was very good. It is, I'm going to talk today. The talk title is Capture the Rapture. Capture the Rapture. And I know you're dancing with this, and it's no coincidence, because there is one mind. You know, I come in and, you know, how can anyone fail to notice just your magnificence? And then the reading, and what Ernest Holmes was talking about with spiritual experience. As you listen to those words, you connect to that, there's deep truth. And I'm going to delve a little deeper into that today. But before I do, I want to share a story. And this story is about buying into the illusion of giving away our power, giving away our joy. And sometimes we can really, in fact, invariably, we cannot be aware that this is what's going on. And so for me, this is a story of when I was about 11 years old, and I was a young boy. And at the time, I was also in a children's home. And what happened was, at about the age of 9, I was put into a children's home. I came from a dysfunctional background, I suppose is the most eloquent way to describe it. And so what I would have was a few weeks a year, I would go back to London, inner city London, to stay with my mother. And my mother was trying her best. She absolutely was. But, you know, she had an awareness. She had the lessons that she needed. She had the experience that she was having. And so when I came back on holidays, it was, I suppose I was just after 11. And it was the summer holidays. And I remember going to a friend of hers, Mary and John, because she had a television and they had a video player, a VHS player. Those of you who are super young, you won't know what VHS is. Okay, it's a little bit older than Betamax and 8 tracks and, you know, the stenograph stuff. But anyway, so VHS, or your video player. And I remember getting really excited because as this 11-year-old boy, you know, my mother was an alcoholic and Mary was an alcoholic, but Mary had a video. And so, you know, I come back for a few weeks, and being an 11-year-old, not exactly sensitive to the fact that my mother was probably already feeling pretty crushed that at the age of 9, in effect, I'd been taken from her. I've been taken from her and put into a children's home, which no doubt about it was a lifesaver, a big part of why I'm here today, a big part of why I have the calling I have. Everything that's unfolded has allowed me to be here, showing up, feeling the cosmic chills, being able to appreciate the community and the magnificence that you are, and you, everything. And so I'm showing up, and Mary's got a video player. And so in my insensitive youth, I start really enjoying the fact that she has a video player because we're so poor, we don't have one. In fact, we didn't have a television at that time. So you imagine an 11-year-old boy, I'm coming from Kent back into London. I don't have any friends anymore, so it's not like I can really go and play and hang out. And so at the same time, I'm coming back into this environment, and the idea of escaping in a movie, oh yeah, that's good. And of course, that wanting to get away, well, it started to get awkward, right? Because alcoholic mother, she loves her son. She's already feeling bad, and I'm the insensitive boy just going away and just not aware, completely clueless. It's not like it's deliberate, right? And so it starts to get awkward. And there comes a point where in the triggering of our stuff, she turns around and says to me, you know, well, if you like it so much, then you can just go and live there then. Literally. She could be your family. Now, that's some pretty deep stuff, because at the time, I really was in effect, that perceived powerlessness. I was 11, so she's my mother, but she's not my full-time mother, right? And I'm really caught up. And so as I've triggered her stuff, she's triggered my stuff, and we've got into this vicious cycle. And then I've resented her because now she's taken away my joy, because I placed my joy in something outside of me. But I can forgive myself for that, because I was just 11. You know, I didn't need to be, you know, Guru Ramadama Ding Dong at 11 years of age, right? That's just for you, Jonathan. So, or is it Swami Ramadama Ding Dong? I don't know. Does it matter? But we're taking our stuff away, right? And so for me, I bought into this illusion of having that taken away. But you know, there's just some fundamental questions that underlie all this. Can you imagine buying into a world, living in a world where you don't know how magnificent you are? Can you imagine that? For many of us, for me, I mean, it wasn't so long ago. Certainly at 11, I wasn't being reminded of how magnificent I was, and neither was my mother. Can you imagine buying into a world where you don't know how loved and cared for you are? Oh, really? And I connect with the world. You know, it was kind of interesting just traveling in Toronto and just sort of being aware, just connecting with how I feel, what's going on inside me, and feeling the different energetics of the city, going from different neighborhood to neighborhood. Fascinating stuff. And feeling the sense that there are people everywhere I go who do not know how loved and cared for they are. And, you know, that just opens me up. It cracks my heart open, because it activates this little compassionate gene, you know, this compassionate cell. And I just go into love. But I know the story that brought me to this moment includes chapters that had scenes with my mother like that, getting lost into that stuff. Can you imagine buying into a world where you don't know how love is the answer? You don't know how love is the answer. Now, these questions, they're all a product of the belief beneath the feelings we feel, the awareness that we have. And what we are feeling, what is surfacing, you know, our emotions, the feelings that we look at, that we get so caught into, that we are so animated and so passionate about, they are messengers of beliefs that we have. They are telling us something. In that moment, I didn't have the awareness to know that whilst I was trying to escape, the moment my mother reached back and said, well, you know, in her pain, if you want to spend so much time over there, go be there, that activated something in me that was deep. I didn't have the wisdom or the experience to translate, but there were beliefs beneath that for me and for her. These memories, these false beliefs, these scarrings, they're all egoic, subjective tendency of the mind. Because the thoughts that we've had in a given moment, when they've been focused on the past or the future, that's the ego, that's that objective mind, that's that analytical mind. And guess what? You don't capture the rapture with that mind. Do you hear me? You know what I'm saying? You don't capture the rapture with analysis. And you certainly don't capture the rapture by trying to tell someone else, like my mother did, well, you need to be over here for my joy. And I didn't capture the rapture by, you know, spending time on that video player and watching God knows what, because I don't remember, because that's how profound it was. But I remember what happened with my mother. So now I'm going to scan forward, because there's another story. There's another story now. I'm walking through the rain. Now, I suppose to set the context, as I'm getting ready for I've got my final year of ministry. I'm about 7 years to this point, right? And I'll be about 8 years. And you know, you do all these classes, but that time it's required just so you can do the work, so you can shift into consciousness. And so now here I am. And I've spent the last few years working as a consultant, so I have this sort of very technical process improvement, technology, automation thing, and I'm working with the provincial government in Alberta. And so I'm in the overflow parking, and I'm walking, and it's raining. I've got a 10-minute walk in the rain, and I carry my laptop. So I'm wearing a T-shirt. And as I'm walking along, I just suddenly become really aware. This is the spiritual experience, right, that Ernest Holmes is talking about. And I find myself, I've got my laptop over my shoulder, and I'm walking with my hands out like this, just walking through. Just the rain, and I'm feeling the rain hitting me, and I'm feeling it landing, and I'm feeling just the droplets running down my skin. I'm feeling my hair getting wet. I'm feeling that I'm starting to vibrate at a cellular level, although I'm realizing, no, I always was. There's just this moment I'm opening myself to the spiritual experience. I'm starting to realize that I am that light. I am this effulgence, and if I would just see it and allow it to break through the prison of my objective mind, I would be that. And so I'm feeling it, and the rain is like a baptism, and I'm remembering and realizing and having this direct experience of this is what the Christian story from the Gnostic perspective was saying when they're supposed to be a baptism. You are being cleansed. And so I'm feeling cleansed. I'm feeling just whole, light, effulgence breaking through. And I'm feeling the rapture. I'm grateful for everything. I'm hearing the sounds of the rain against the pavement, on the leaves of the tree. I'm hearing there's still a bird that's calling out in this rain because he or she is not going to be put down by the rain. Oh no. Going to find them some fun too. I'm hearing the traffic. I'm smelling the air. And it was a feeling. And it was an energetic presence. And it was something that I had to experience. And even right now, as I share this with you, you may be connecting through the feeling of it. But the words really are profanity, because the words won't actually take you there. But it was a feeling. How magnificent is that? And that was me. That was God manifest as me. And the beautiful thing is that's not a special story to me. That just happens to be my particular story of the rapture, of capturing that rapture for myself. But everyone is capable of that. This is a product of the belief beneath my feelings, of the work that I've been doing. So I've been coming back again and again, and I've forgotten, and I've gone away, and I've gone away, and then I've remembered, I've come back. And what I found is that time between the reaction and the response. The reaction when the feeling comes up, and I just want to identify and run with that feeling or that really sad feeling, to that response of, hey, I am love. I am God incarnated. I am God. You are God. Knowing and connected with that, I have done the work to come back. And I suspect that everyone here and online has experienced a mystical experience of some kind at least once. And if you are clearly aware of that, that is a great reflection of the work you are doing and the way that you are showing up. Isn't that magnificent? So the question then is, how do we capture more rapture in our lives? How do we capture more? Who wants more rapture? Yes, please. I'll put 2 hands up. Yeah.
So may I have some more?
Please, sir, may I have some more, sir? Yes, Oliver. Because this is not like the grotto. Here, yes, it's infinite supply, unlimited potential. Now, I'm going to take a step back again, though, because, so I'm like the barrow boy from inner city London. I don't know if you've ever heard that term, barrow boy. Little boys walk around with the barrows in the market with the fruit. It was like I suppose it was one step up above cleaning the latrines, right? So anyway, so I've come from there to here, and of course that's still form, it really doesn't matter. But I know on that journey, I know one of my things was, and it certainly got me into trouble as a child, I tended to intellectualize. In the mind, anyone relate to that? Intellectualize? Oh, I got some hands up, this is good. Because sometimes you ask those questions, everyone's their hands down. But I see Jonathan's doing some good work. There's some honesty going on here, this is good. Some introspection, yes, Jonathan, amazing. See, we're behaving while you're away, it's really good. So, now those of you who are familiar with the educational track of this organization, the Centers for Spiritual Living, that this is an organization that is in the midst of beginning a global explosion. You have no idea. And I sense that you sense it, but anyway, one of the amazing ingredients of that is the educational track that we have. We have this wonderful way where, you start showing up on a Sunday, and these are like the hors d'oeuvres, because you get to hear the regular guy or the strange mystery English guy or whatever, the international man of mystery. Showing up and saying, hey, this is what happened, and this is some stuff. But this is like the hors d'oeuvres, right? So you're just checking in, you're getting a little taste. Like the dealers of love, have a taste. And so what happens, though, you'll discover there's classes. And so there's wonderful structure, and so that you'll have like this, the first year, the foundation, or what they used to call the 100 series, okay? And then after you do a year's worth of classes, then you go into the second year, the 200. And then if you're feeling really empowered and you're feeling that commitment, you go into practitioner training because, you know, make no bones about it. When you when you answer the call to be a practitioner, it's a lifetime commitment. But it's kind of funny because in my intellectualization, I didn't even realize that. I know that my particular story of the educational track started. Anyone heard of Thomas Troward? Right, Thomas, for those of you who aren't aware, and for the benefit of you online, Thomas Troward was, you know, one of the main 3 inspirations to Ernest Holmes. And what Troward gave Ernest Holmes was the logical process of creation. He talked about the subjective, the objective mind. And he's amazing, right? Particularly to someone like me who loves to be in the head because he's given all the logic. Yeah, that was the big thing he gave, logic. Emerson gave the inspiration, okay? And Troward gave that logic. And Quimby gave healing. Right, those of you who really know your history, right? I just did a ministerial exam, so we had to learn that, right? But it's amazing. So, of course, I get drawn. The first class I show up, I've cremated my mother at the end of March, 2006. And I've walked the next Sunday into the Center for Spiritual Living, Edmonton. And I swear, I've just walked through the doors. And, okay, I didn't hear the, la, didn't hear that. But it felt like that. I felt like that because I was like, I'm home. I'm home. Yes, I'm home. Of course, I didn't actually say that. I didn't run around, I'm home, I'm home, I'm home. Because, you know, norms and programming wouldn't have really dug, right? But anyway, so I'm home. And so I'm there for a couple of months, and I'm hearing, you know, Dr. Patrick Cameron is the minister there. Like, he's just showing up, and he's doing his thing. And just the words he's saying, and I keep coming back. I keep coming. Anyone resonate and recognize this? Keep coming back. And so the first class that's on in August, the beginning of August that year, was Thomas Troward, right? Now, I've been doing like 7 years of metaphysical stuff before that, right? You know, Reiki and therapeutic touch and the list goes on. Because I was on a search for my thing, right? Just for someone to get deep in. And invariably at the beginning of this spiritual journey, you know, we taste all over the place. You ever been a highlighter? You know, you buy all those books and you highlight. That looks really cool. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, put that down. Okay, that looks really cool. Yeah, I like that. That's good. Yeah, put that down. What was that again? You see, I showed up at the Center for Spiritual Living, and not only was I hearing the message, not only was it jumping out at me, oh, yes, I was getting to connect with community because I couldn't highlight the people around me. They wouldn't stand still. They would stay still. It's like, please, just stop, just stop. I really should take these glasses off because I'm going to leave without these. I just realized. Okay. So anyway, so I'm getting caught up in this. But, you know, it was amazing. But in that class, I didn't connect at the heart. But I was getting answers in the mind, and that was exactly what I needed. That was what I needed for where I was and how I was working, because that's how God is. God gives us exactly one mind gives us exactly what we need at exactly the right time. And we'll look back, and right now, I've spent the time to inquire. And as I connect with that, I have this knowing, and I see the pieces falling together. And really all that's happening is I'm seeing it. Because it was always there anyway. It was always there anyway. But I was thinking I was using it because I had the words. I'm actually in the process of doing a book, writing a book. And so I'm big into writing. I've spent the last 5 years writing this blog, and I've had an editorial assessment, and I'm getting it ready to be sent in for book design. And so, as you can imagine, I write an affirmative prayer. Oh, yes, I can do that. And I do that many times. And then sometimes, guess what? I highlight my prayers too. Yes. Oh, I have to remember that. Yeah. So I was given these tools. I wrote down the prayers, and it was still in the mind. And you know, this is the interesting thing, because this is a challenge for us. It's a challenge for practitioners. It's a challenge for ministers. It's a challenge for anyone who is studying classes, because we've got this 5-step process. And you know, our process is fantastic because it lays out, I got to recognize, you know, there's this amazing one mind. And I got to feel and connect with it and unify and know that it is mine. It is through me. It is through you. And then I got to realize what it is I want. And then I've just got to have this sense of gratitude. I'm so grateful. Of course, I wasn't saying it like that. I was like, so there is one mind. This mind is my mind. This mind is perfect. And I know, and I was just going through this, not with actually with British accent probably at the time too. And it's so wonderful. Thank you very much. And so it is. And you know, I know that if God has a personality, it was probably kind of like, you know, yeah, that's kind of good. I know you'll get that. Okay, here you go. Because as we reach out, the universe reaches out, right? Reaches out to us. And for me, it was easier to be in the mind. Why? Because that was the mode I'd been operating in. I was showing up in the way that I was, and I was then processing, taking in the stuff around me in a way that suited me. But the truth is, we've got to move from the head to the heart, because the truth is in the heart. And you know, even that, it's not this physical beating organ. Bum, 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 bum. It's this center. The heart's a part of that, but it's the center of us. So we've got to move within. And so when you think about the initial story, I was feeling the rain, because we feel rapture. This is what we feel. So, but that being said, classes change consciousness. There's no doubt. You know, the 8 years to prepare brought me to a place through various events, retreats, community, prayer partners, going into practitioner studies. And it was very interesting, because I even intellectualized going into practitioner studies. And someone who'd been in this teaching for a long time just, pat turned around to me and he said, wow, that's really cool. You've made a lifetime commitment. And I kind of stopped and looked at him and I said, I have. I didn't say that, but it was in my mind because I'd intellectualized it. Because to me, there was 100 and then there was 200 and there was 300. I was one of those students, right? They just wanted to take the next class. But God knew better. God took me. God came through me and said, okay, there's more to this. And when that was pointed out to me, then I started to open up and realize, and I really communed with that. And then I went on a retreat and I really connected to that whole thing. I'd rather live the truth and not know all the details than know all the details but be living a lie. Think about it. I'd rather live the truth and not know all the details than know all the details and be living a lie. That sort of reminds me, I was thinking about last week's talk when Reverend Jonathan Zenz was talking about the facts are pliable, they're fluid. David Chatterjee talks about facts are a moment of truth frozen in time. They're based on what we know at any given time. But boy, does this world place an emphasis. And then Jonathan last week said, I know I've forgotten the truth when I can rely on facts. Oh, yes. When I'm relying on facts, I'm not in the truth. I'm in that place of analysis because I need the answers. I need scientists to turn around and prove it to me? Oh, good. The undergraduates who started with axioms and assumptions to basically do their research work. And some of those assumptions are 400 years plus old. Newtonian physics and quantum physics is sideswiping them completely and saying, the science that you know today is pliable. It's filled with pliable facts. The further we move from it making sense, the further we move into the mystery. I want to release the history and embrace the mystery. It's my boxing promoter moment. When I capture the rapture, we're going to release the history and embrace the mystery. And in the right-hand corner, there is the individual. And the whole ring is God. And they are fighting their shadow, their ego, their history, their story over there. Ding, ding. And I'm just in the corner. I'm going to release the history, embrace the mystery. Ernest Holmes says, there is no point trying to reason why there is life, why we exist. You read The Science of Mind, he gets very clearly into this. Don't try and work out why there is life. Philosophers are doing it. They can't agree. No, he didn't say that bit. That was me. But don't try and reason, right? Reason, analysis. Ernest Holmes also says, we must be very careful that because we create the mold, that we believe we must create the substance. It is the very part of the very life that we live. So what's he talking about there? Mold is thought, right? That directive thought, that force. And the conviction is the molten substance, otherwise known as the law, the thing itself, the thing that makes it so, right? Conviction is the passion, the faith. Passion is the rapture. And a great analogy to this is if you think about the creative process, it comes down, you think of a rocket ship where there's a guidance system and there's fuel, right? Okay, you imagine a rocket ship without fuel. What happens? Okay, that's the molten substance, right? And then the guidance system, okay, that's the thought. No guidance system. And the rocket goes off, but all over the place. And that's what's happening because we've got fuel. We're actually, until we start to awaken, we're all rocket ships without a guidance system. And you know what happens then, right? Oh, yeah. Not so good. Jonathan Sens at the Kamloops conference also said, I got to quote him, because you wouldn't have heard this, because he came up with the time. I am not here, I can't do his accent, someone to do my accent. I am not here to be someone else's effect. I am here to be cause and action. Oh yes, Jonathan, I am here to be cause and action. Like it. Because he is discovering his own joy, right? And it's amazing, and I feel as I've come into this field, and I feel what he's doing, it's just amazing. And when we speak the truth, we also capture rapture. So it was no coincidence that with July 21st, the creative thought, I looked, because I submitted a prayer for the first time. I've been a practitioner for years, and it's today. All right? So all affirmative prayers in the creative thought, they start with a quote, and then there's the prayer bit. So Ernest Times, the quote that I've got is, the world is all right when we view it correctly. Who knows what would transpire if all people would speak the truth? It has never yet been tried, but let not the mouth of the profane hinder those who would enter, thereby keeping them from entering. I speak the truth. When you look at this, you know, there is one light, one presence, one love. I am this loving presence of light, and it is expressed by means of and through every living being. Yes, recognizing there is this co-creative truth. Because the moment we recognize we can start to program our guidance system, we suddenly realize there's billions of other rockets around us. And what's happening? They're going off of our guidance systems, and there's mid-air collisions, right? Fueled by feeling. I speak the truth. I claim a creative consciousness and embody the truth that all I experience is a product of what is within my conscious and subconscious mind. So there's a little bit of a realization, because this guidance system is not something that we consciously program alone. Oh no, there's some little shadow parts of us that go in and go, I'm going to tweak this. I'm going to set it that way. And we're suddenly mid-course and we're going, whoa, where am I going? No, I want to go over there. And then we bring our spiritual practice in. Okay, quickly, just re-engineer it, tweak it, program it, and get that back on track again. And that's what's happening. You know, and we get rid of one, another one comes in. I think the truth so that I might view the world correctly. I know that the world correctly understood is one that is alive with countless expressions of the divine at play with itself. This is what's happening. We are the divine playing with life, playing with God, playing with us. And this is where the rapture is. You ever see children playing, right, and they really get into it? What are you witnessing? Why is there such a love for children? Because there's this innocence, this unconditional showing up. And in their purity, they are just being rapture. Children are the lesson to us of what we have forgotten. And this is why people, I believe, it's not only that nature, nurture, that urge to ensure that, you know, there's reproduction and we have offspring and the gene pool. I think it's much more than that. And I think that what we're doing is we're connecting with a knowing deep within us that when we see our children, that we are realizing that through them, there is a lesson of truth. And when they are in their natural state of love, that's when we feel it, we are moved by it. At play with itself. And when I experience discomfort, I set aside blame. I look within and bring my belief system to the light. I set aside blame. You're not going to capture the rapture by telling other people what they did wrong. You know, I don't like what you did. Don't do that. It's your fault. Look within, because the rapture is within. I speak the truth, knowing that the divine responds with love. I transcend victim consciousness and allow the vibrations of wisdom and compassion to be revealed by means of me. I speak the truth, and it is a powerful truth of love. When we transcend victim consciousness, it can be as simple as shifting from, why did this happen to me, to why is this happening for me? And in the end, I speak the truth, and it is a powerful truth of love. What am I saying there? Well, really, if you get into the science of mind, when Ernest Times talks about what Jesus was talking about, and I'm with Jonathan Zenz, I'm with Reverend Jonathan on, you know, there should be no human race consciousness around the fear of the word Jesus in our tradition, because he was the great example, not the great exception. And when he showed up, well, that master teacher was showing up in a place of demand and a place of command, because he had fully claimed. And when he said, I am the way, he was not saying it's just me is the way. He was saying, I am, the I am that is in all, the way. You connect with the I am, you will have the way, and I am the great example. And so he was in that place of recognition and unification, and everyone around him felt it. And when they felt it, when he spoke, he knew it, and his word was command, and so it was. And for him, it was the one-step treatment. Bam, done. Because he had trust. You ever been in a situation of why did I create that? Someone say, well, what's in your consciousness? I know I was overhearing something where two metaphysicians, Holmesian metaphysicians, one of them had a really bad cold, and the other one said, well, what's in your consciousness? Like, really? And it took me a few years to get over that bit of scarring, but what I realized that was going on, and it wasn't even to me, I was just witnessing two other rockets colliding midair, right? Oh, no. What's in my consciousness? Oh, I'm going to have to just, do you remember the movie Da Vinci Code at the beginning? Paul Bettany is just flagellating him, all right? And that looks painful. When you do the spiritual self-guilt trip, you're doing this, and it's worse. Oh, yeah, because you won't even see the scars as readily. Because you can see the scars on the skin. At the level of form, it's a bit easier and simpler to play with. But when it's the metaphysical stuff beneath the surface, oh, that stuff is subtle, right? That is subtle stuff. So, capture the rapture. God is more than principle. What would it be like if you welcomed discomfort, right? If you just think about it. What would it be like if I welcomed discomfort? Because God is more than principle. It's about connecting with feeling, the power of creation. Surrender is about living everything without exception, recognizing it's all God, seeing beauty in everything. Capturing the rapture is a subconscious process as much as a conscious one. I can set the intention, but I can't turn around and say, I'm going to capture the rapture now. Yes, it's not going to work that way at all. The rapture is going to come up through me at the most unexpected of times. So be ready for it. And recognize that the analysis, the deductive thinking, the serial thinking isn't going to work. Recognize that there are these aspects of ourselves at play, that there's this greater intelligence, that reasoning is tied to the world of form. And if you want to impress someone with your facts, you will not bring them to a place of rapture. Transformation, and this is the takeaway for you now. Transformation is a shift in how we see ourselves as a center of God consciousness. And what Ernest Holmes, checking out so much science of mind, he says something in there. Let us learn to see everyone as an evolving Christ. Let us learn to see that everyone is an evolving Christ. That's the teaching right there. Right there, one sentence. Let us learn to see that everyone is an evolving Christ. So speak the truth and take spiritual responsibility as an evolving Christ. Matthew 10, 12, 13. Who shall we try to help? Jesus was talking about when you enter the house, salute the house. But if the peace is not welcome that you bring, then we should let it return unto us. So when you've captured your rapture, don't go around and expect people to be ready to appreciate your rapture and to buy into your rapture. Because a guaranteed way to lose your rapture is that, not only if you've done your work, then you start going out and you want to evangelize everyone else. I got some rapture. Taste this. A little bit, what? Got to find it for yourself. So in closing, an ounce of conviction is worth many pounds of affirmation. That's what Ernest Holmes is saying. An ounce of conviction is worth many pounds of affirmation. Don't just say your affirmative prayer, feel your affirmative prayer. Don't just say your words of guided meditation, feel your words of guided meditation. Don't just listen to the words of the meditation when you're being guided. Connect and feel with those words. Prepare yourself, retrain yourself, connect with the feeling with the head, conviction. Feel for yourself and let others discover for themselves. Because sure enough, the moment we set the intention to capture the rapture, it is done. Namaste.
Well done.
Thank you. And I'm a highlighter. I have one. And I carry one in my purse. I'm not going to, oh yeah, it's in there. And I have like bookshelves full of books. And what I find is I'll go back and I'll see something I've highlighted and go, why the hell did I highlight that? So I guess in the time it meant something, and perhaps I've embraced it, moved through it, or just I was so off track way back. But anyway, I found that very funny. So thank you. That was, throughout I was going, I could highlight many things he's saying. Well, thank you. Music book is here. This is the point in our service where we give back. If anybody's holding popsicle sticks, for those of you who don't know what this is, those of us holding the colorful sticks, we are part of the pre-authorization program where money comes out of our, I have mine, out of our checking account Visa or MasterCard. There are envelopes for anybody who would like to pay by check or cash. In the bookstore, we also take your tithe, your donation, your love offering, your commitment, whatever you want to call it. It's the law of God in circulation, and we share it. And on the back of the book is our divine givingness, if you just want to read along with me. I know that God is the source of all supply, and that money is God in action. I know that my good is here now. I claim an abundance of money to spare and share. I know that true prosperity includes perfect health, perfect wealth, and perfect happiness. I bless all that I have now, and I bless the increase. I give thanks for this good. I know that my gift today goes forward to heal, to bless. I joyously contribute to the vision of this spiritual center and know that it returns to me multiplied abundantly. And we are going to sing God is My Source on page 5. If y'all want to stand up and... 1, 2, 3.
God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything that I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything that I need. Joy is my source, joy is my power, joy gives me everything that I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything that I need. Yeah, peace is my source. Peace is my power. Peace gives me everything that I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Peace gives me everything that I need. Love is my source. Love is my power. Love gives me everything that I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Yeah, love gives me everything that I need. Love is my source. Love is my power. Love gives me everything I need.
Thank you all for being with us today and sharing in the joy and the rapture. And Tony's waving at me. Oh, blessing of the offering. Margaret Ann, I'm not done with you yet. Thank you, Tony.
It does take a village. And I would like to invite this village to join in thanksgiving and gratitude for this center, for everything in these baskets that is the expression of love and peace and joy, the flow through of life. There is only one presence, and it is God, and it is love, and it is peace and joy, and it is absolutely everywhere. It is in each of us. It is in this center. It is in Carmien, for this beautiful voice that visits with us today. In gratitude for each and every one of us. In gratitude for each and every light that shines in this center and beyond, online, everywhere, and everyone associated with this center. In gratitude, I release these words to the law of mind, knowing that they are manifest through us in beautiful ways. Together we say, and so it is. Thank you.
Thanks, Margaret Ann. And while the gratitude is flowing, let me thank a few people that were instrumental in doing what we do on a Sunday, because we're a volunteer-driven organization, and without volunteers, well, there'd be no music, there'd be no cleaning, there'd be no coffee, there'd be no bookstore. So we are a fabulous group of people who do fabulous things, and I personally am so grateful for everybody who's part of this community and makes Sunday morning and the rest of the week rock. But in particular today, we had Gail and Pat on setup. Thank you. Wim and Terry were our greeters. Thank you. Nick is in the bookstore. Margaret Ann, our practitioner of the day. And for those who don't know, on Sundays, our practitioners are here for you for we call it Minutes of Miracle. So if there is something heavy on your heart, don't leave. With that, Margaret Ann will spend some time with you today. Just find her after service. Everybody else is out of town. So Margaret Ann's it today. Board members on duty, Susan and Judy, who have now gone downstairs. In the sound booth, Carrie. Oh yeah, see you girls, bye. With our dynamic kid this morning, Mark and Heather. And the lovely and talented Tony Matthews on the camera. And Lynn. Yes?
Jonathan has left watching us so he can go prep for his talk, but he did ask after both you and Carmien said, why should we start behaving now? There's no point.
And Linda for the flowers. Thank you so much. And to my fellow bandmates, the Queen Street Band, thank you, boys. Yes. And thank you. Everybody's talking to me. Jonathan, I don't know how you do this. All these people talking to you. A big fat thank you to Carmien for... You fit in well. You're funny. You're irreverent. An irreverent reverend. No, it was fabulous. So thank you very much. Really appreciate you coming and sharing your brilliance with us. So blessed. Next week, we have Esther Nicholson, who will be our guest speaker and our guest musician. She was here 2 years ago. She's quite fantastic. She was a backup singer for Rod Stewart. Went on tour with him, so she had some fantastic stories about her time there and her growth and having to step away from that part of her life. So she will be doing the talk and some of the music, and she's also doing a workshop afterward. I believe the price for the workshop is $35. There is registration in the bookstore, so she has an idea of who is sticking around for that, and payment is to her next Sunday. The following week, then, Jonathan is off to Asilomar after he talks at Global Truth Center. He's at the Asilomar conference for a couple of weeks, and then he will be back. But on Sunday, August 4th, our own Helen Velo will be doing the speaking that day. And we have an awesome musician, Amy Bishop. I was on her website yesterday. She's funny. Her bio, very funny. So I went, okay, she's going to fit in here as well. Very well. So come on back for that. And then Jonathan is back to work full-time the following August, and classes begin and all that good stuff. So now I'm going to call Carmien up one more time as we sing I'm Here to Remind You. You can just lay back and bask in the fabulousness, or you can follow along. It's on page 1.
To remind you of your magnificence, to help you away
this moment, in this precious, perfect gathering, I connect with that longing, that knowing, that clarity that there is one mind, Spirit. And I feel Spirit through and as me, through and as everyone gathered here, through and as everyone online, everyone throughout the world, everyone connected with this community, knowing that we are but a choice away from our magnificence. Knowing that each time we are called to that choice, that we make the choice, that we allow ourselves to honor the feelings that surface. And I know that today there was this wonderful exchange of wisdom and understanding and clarity and uplifting. And I know that as we go forth into this week, into the coming days, the coming moments, that we are reminded in wonderful, exquisite ways. We have reflections of love surrounding us, uplifting us, loving us, inviting us to love. And so with this knowing of love, with this sense of joy, feeling this rapture through and as me, celebrating this collective field, knowing that there is this magnificence being revealed, I express this gratitude knowing that in the moment I connected and unified, I was in a state of gratitude. There was release. And so I simply state with command and demand and invite you to join with me in saying these words, and so it is.
Take this Rapture out to the streets, sing and listen to the music. Page 21.
Stand up, peeps, if you want.
All the time.
Surrounding castles in the sky, and the crowd is growing bigger. Listen for the happy sounds, I gotta let them fly. Listen to the music. Oh, oh, oh. Listen to the music. Oh, oh, listen to the music all the time. Oh, oh, listen to the music. Oh, oh, listen to the music. Oh, oh, listen to the music all the time.
Have an awesome, awesome week. Join us for coffee out there.